Nagash channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar, and in this video it's going to be another hobby and chat, and we're going to be talking about all the news from the Age of Sigmar Open Day. So while I'm chatting to you guys, I'm going to get on with some of my own hobby here. So what I've got are my own centaurs for my Slaves of Darkness army. So these are, Chaos Knights for my Sinesh army. And I've built these a little while ago, and I thought I'd best crack on with them and best actually get them painted. So I thought, like I said, I'd chat to you guys about what I saw at the open day while I am doing some of my hobby. Now I can probably chat for about half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. So we'll be good. Obviously there's going to be a lot to talk about. If you guys have got any questions, do not hesitate to come and ask me in the chat. So first things first, what we're going to talk about is going to be, shall we start with Warcry? Because that's what the Age of Sigmar Open Day was all about. They did talk about other things, of course, but Warcry was basically the main pusher. So when I went to the Open Day at Warhammer World, they essentially had about, I don't know, they must have about 20 banners for Warcry and just trying to make you buy it. However, past that, Warcry was good fun. Had an opportunity to play it, and to be honest, it's really quite a simple game, and that, in all honesty, is the best part about Warcry. It's just how simplistic it is. Especially in a time where some games of Age of Sigmar now, they can be so in depth with realm rules. I'm a fan of realm rules, but just so much going on, especially when you're playing a game of magnitude of 2,000 battles plus. It can end up just taking a lot of time. It can feel like a lot of work. I do thoroughly enjoy it, but it's nice to have a little bit different, and I think that's what Warcry can bring. If you haven't got that long to have a game, I think Warcry games still going for about an hour, but you can have campaign systems in place, so you could probably run a campaign in a day, those sorts of things. So I think that is very cool, to be honest, and that's the sort of thing that I am looking forward to doing more of, be able to play more hobby. And essentially, even if it's not like a massive 2,000 point battle or something like that, it's still going to be something. And after seeing the war bands the open day, because you got to see the sprues, you got to look at them, all these sorts of things, got to see the models built, you really get an idea of size for them. And it's just so nice to see some mortal followers for the Chaos Gods that are going to come out, obviously, because you can see with my Sinesh here, the Slaves of Darkness, I'm much more a fan of mortals rather than the demons. I do have the demons because, well, Sinesh you have to, don't you? Because they're basically very easy ways to summon. You'd be stupid not to have any demons in collection, so you can't summon them if you want to play competitively. So, but my heart is really in the mortal side, so it's great to see some new mortals for Chaos to come out, and I can't wait to add them to my own collection. So yeah, talking about Warcry, yeah, so it's simple game, easy to play. Obviously, might take a little bit of time just to learn it, but to be honest with people I was with, we learnt it in, I think by the end of turn 2 or something, we got most of the mechanics. Like, when you look at the rules for each model, it's very similar to how a War Scroll sort of works. Like you've got your basic stat wheel, and that really sort of makes it feel homely, so it doesn't feel alien. Like if you were to compare it to 40k, which again, a data sheet is quite similar to a War Scroll, but still quite a bit different. The cards for your warriors in your warbands for Warcry are more similar to Age of Sigmar, so like I say, it makes them feel a lot more homely. So yeah, that was good. Also, the other nice thing about it was being able to see how creative you can be with the terrain, because one of the things we got to saw is the people who make the amazing dioramas in the exhibition hall. So these like the huge battle scenes. Got to see what they did with a set of the Warcry terrain with obviously their own kitbash stuff, and it is really quite nice. So yes, that was good as well. But yeah, so that was nice. Warcry. Like I say, it's just start of the video and stuff. So I'll just talk about it briefly now. I'm sure you guys got any questions later. We have to answer them. So the next thing I want to talk about, and this is obviously going to be the main thing. Well, I say main thing, I'll correct myself. This is going to be one of the main things, and this is going to be the battle tomes we'll be talking about, which, sorry, they are the main thing. They are the main release for the open day, and the battle tomes in question, we have got the proper showcase and announcement of 2, and these are going to be the 3 cities and I think the Great Warcry called, pardon me, I'm just going to double check on the name. Yeah, so Warclans, that's their name. Yeah, so that's huge. That was the biggest news I could see when I was there, and most sort of excited about. The Orcs and stuff, very excited for. However, probably more excited for the free cities, just because not even called free cities. I mean cities of Sigmar. And the reason I'm excited about this is I'm a big fan of narrative in Age of Sigmar. I very much like the fact that it is. I like it that it's abstract. I didn't like how abstract it was at the start of Age of Sigmar, and that is because it was a case of too abstract. You couldn't like tie down to anything. You couldn't really. It was hard to imagine yourself in the mortal realms because it was just so random and just no real sort of grasp to it. But now, if you look at the lore in Age of Sigmar, it's a lot more. It's still abstract enough for you to be able to come up with your own lore, which is great, but it's also got some foundations for you to work with, like the great cities, and that comes into the cities of Sigmar, which is a new battle tone for free people and the like. So Reese just joined, so howdy, hey mate. So in this video, basically I'm just going to be painting up some of my centaurs and talking about all the news from the open day for Age of Sigmar that we had yesterday as I was there, luckily enough, at Warhammer World. So we're going to be talking about, so we just talked about Warcry, and we're going to be talking about now the battle tones, and we're going to start with the cities of Sigmar. So this battle tone for a lot of people has, I've been giving them a sigh of relief. What I will firstly say about this battle tome, doesn't look like there's going to be any new models for any of those armies. I'll just get that out of the way. I think if you thought there were going to be new models, you might have been hoping a bit too much, to be honest, because Games Workshop hasn't really given any of those models, any of those new factions, new models over the last like 4 years, or since Age of Sigmar's been out. And if they haven't given them any new models, then they probably weren't going to get any realistically. So I think the Cities of Sigmar is a very good way to give them updated rules. Yeah, sure, it would be nice for them to have new models, but like I say, that's not happening anytime soon, if at all. So it's nice to see they are going to get updated rules. Now, what order factions are going to be in the cities? I personally feel like it's going to be anything bar Seraphon. I think Seraphon are going to be the only ones that aren't going to have access to the cities of Sigmar. They may well do, but if there is one that isn't going to, it's going to be Seraphon. Now, the reason for that is if we go back to look at Firestorm, which you guys can remember was the campaign system Games Workshop came up for Age of Sigmar, which was a way for you to play with up to 4 players, a campaign set in the Realm of Fire, which involved the 3 cities. And this was the city, I think it's more than 3 now, but the ones I can remember, like Hammerhall, City of Life, Tempest Eye, and then there were many other ones which I have long forgotten. But how I remember looking at those were a lot of the cities were obviously specified to specific factions. So you imagine the City of Life, or the Living City, I believe it was called, had Wanderers, Sylvaner, Free People, Duoden, and I think that was it, and Stormcast. I think those are the only ones, and then like you'd have Tempest Eye would specialise in something else. I think Hammerhall had everything bar Seraphon, and there's no other cities that did have Seraphon, so that's why I think Seraphon won't be in them. But it's going to be such a nice way to have all those older armies that a lot of people have had hope in. They thought, oh, is Games Workshop going to discontinue them? Are they not? Are they? And then that's whole uncertainty, and no one really likes uncertainty apart from chaos. The whole uncertainty has now been sort of had some light shined on it to make it go away. And that is going to be with the Cities of Sigmar coming out, which is going to be absolutely. I don't know if the book's going to be really powerful and it's going to make these armies now dominant on the tabletop and in tournaments, and probably won't be. But the fact that it's just going to bring them up to at least par and make them be able to be more competitive and all this. And I know everyone who plays Age of Sigmar is not trying to be competitive, but it's nice to not go into a game thinking that you haven't really got a chance. You know, I don't know if you're taking a Free People's army against Flesh-Eater Courts, and that's not saying that Free People can't beat Flesh-Eater Courts, but majority of the time it's going to be the Flesh-Eater Courts winning, and that isn't really healthy for the game, I don't think. So it's nice to have all the other armies brought up to standards a bit. Also means that you're going to have more variety in the armies you're going to fight, even if you don't want to do Free People, or I keep them from calling Free People, but I mean Cities of Sigmar. or the Oracle Warclans, which is obviously the other one. Even if you don't want to do those armies, it's just nice because it means that you're going to have more opponents who will be playing those armies. Just gives a nice variety to even just your local gaming shop, your gaming club, or if you go to big tournaments. It's just going to make it a lot more diverse, which is always a good thing in this hobby. So yeah, that's absolutely cool. The other thing on that note though as well, when I was talking about whole uncertainty of all these people, these armies were going to get updated, and there's a lot of people who said, "Oh, don't worry, Games Workshop, yeah, they got rid of Tomb Kings and Bretonnians, but they were just really hard to try and, you know, copyright, because Tomb Kings, you know, practically Egyptians, and then, you know, Bretonnians, well, they're just medieval knights with fantasy in them, aren't they? That's literally it. Obviously nice, but that's basically it. So it's quite hard to copyright them, and enough people won't buy them, etc., etc. And then you had armies like the Empire and stuff, and people are like, oh, don't worry, they won't get to discontinue them. However, speaking to the people and the chaps at Warhammer World, what was it, yesterday, at the open day, it turns out that was very much on the cards to get rid of the Empire and everything else. Very much like it was like a 50-50. Shall we not? Yeah, we'll get rid of them. No, we change our mind. So it's very nice to see that, because that's how serious it was, that they could have just literally just got rid of them. It wasn't like a rumour. It's like it generally was going to happen. It's nice to see that they didn't get rid of them, and they, you know, threw them a lifeline, which is nice. Yes, they're not going to get any new models as far as I'm aware, but, you know, at this point, don't care about that. I literally just care that they are not going to get chucked out. So that is the main thing there, and I think that's something that we can all be happy about. Even like I say, if you don't play the army, it means you're going to see more of them. And when I say the City of Sigmar, like I say, going to be things like Wanderers, Free People, Dispossessed, Phoenix Temple, things like College Arcane, you know, bloody hell, I'm trying to remember them all now, but all these broken little order armies and factions will now be more united. They'll have allegiance abilities, and it's going to be really, really, really cool to see them more on the table, and to be honest, even tempt myself into getting them. As one of the things I had always liked the idea of doing is the Living City, and I thought that would be a really, really cool thing to do for a theme, and oh god, I may have to do it when it comes out. To full unfortunate of my bank account, that may happen unfortunately, but you know, like I say, it's more like an act of God. I don't really have a choice in the matter. So the other thing to talk about the cities of Sigmar is that they also will have War Scroll cards coming out, because I remember seeing the pack. So basically, when I was there, I took a photo of it, put it on Facebook, had the Battle Tome, and also there's going to be a limited edition Battle Tome, so that's cool as well. Nice to see it there. And the War Scroll card pack was literally about that thick, which is about twice the size as most other ones. In all honesty, it was absolutely massive. So it just shows how many things are going to be in there. What I do think, though, a little bit, you know, worryingly, if you want to call it, what I do think is a problem is they will be getting rid of resin models. Now, there's no truth to this. There's no, oh, they're doing that. That's what they said there at the open day. There's nothing like that. However, they have been very keen to get rid of resin models or update them. Now, there's so many order units that are resin, I doubt they are going to update them all. They might update some, but they're not going to update all of them. You know, much more likely that they'll just get rid of some. So that's something that you might want to look at. You know, if there's like a really nice resin model, you might want to get it now. And that's not like me telling you to rush and buy this stuff, because I have no idea if they are going to be discontinued, and if they are, then they go what's it, like clearance, so you'll know about it and stuff. But it's just a thought that I had, and something to bear in mind, essentially. So just, you know, something to be careful there about, basically. So there's that. And what's the other cool? And I was chatting to the people who designed the books for about probably like sort of half an hour or something, and you know, it was really, really cool to hear their thoughts, because you know, we always like to presume what Games Workshop's thinking and everything like that. It was actually nice to speak to the chaps themselves and hear their thoughts on it. And to be honest, I thought it was going to be very much, they have a script, what they can say. I mean, like, I asked them what's the release date for the Cities of Sigmar, and obviously they can't tell me that, and that's very clear. However, like most other things, they're quite honest. Like I was saying, when I said to them, like, a lot of people were, you know, worried about their like Empire armies and thought they're going to be discontinued. And instead of them just saying, oh, don't worry, we've said, you know, we've got the book for them now, they said, yeah, they were probably going to be discontinued, but we decided to go the other way after seeing, like, Duncan and Chris Peaches, you know, like Free People's armies, they really inspired them to keep them. So, you know, Duncan and Chris Peach sort of saved the day with Free People's and those other ones. So, well, that's, you know, that's something we can all thank them for. Didn't realise it was that much of a knife edge, but that's something we can all thank them for. So yeah, that's cool. What we got here? So Sam saying, not calling my wanderers broken. Time to go and get my bow. Yes. So Sam, you definitely did the right time to start a wanderers army, as I think if you look at my wanderers videos and them, I very much talk about how they're not bad, but you know, they're not going to be winning tournaments at all, anything like that. Well, in this new book, I'm not saying they are going to win tournaments, but they are going to be better than they currently are, more likely, and that's cool. Because even if, like I say, I don't know, your mate's got a Wanderer's army as an example, and you play against him with, I don't know, your what corn stuff, let's say. Yeah, you might think, oh, I know, because now it's gonna be harder for me to win games. But that's the good thing. There's no point playing a game which is an easy win. There's no enjoyment in that. And I mean, if you do get enjoyment, I mean, well, fair enough. But most people don't like it. What's Sam saying? So yeah, are you going to do another review on the new book? I will do when this new book comes out, Cities of Sigmar. I will be doing reviews on it. Again, it does take a bit of time doing the reviews. Like if you've seen with my Nurgle stuff, like when you do hour-long videos, it does take like an hour to. So the video is an hour long. It takes about 2 hours to record it, and then it takes about an hour to edit it. So at that length, you know, like an hour video is like 4 hours. So it can take some time. Like for example, I did like 2 back-to-back hour ones for the Nurgle. So that's like 8 hours. So it can take some time, but yes, I will be doing Cities of Sigmar. I don't know if I'll be doing it straight away when they come out. I may do like a quick review of the whole book and then more in depth at a later date. That might be a nice way to do it. So I cover it quite early on rather than just go and stick it on the list and then not covering it like till, I don't know, what, 4 months after it's released, something like that. But the nice thing about the Cities of Sigmar is that they cover a lot of armies in it. So it won't just be me spending time on one army, it'll be a lot of armies I can review, but I will say that book is going to take a long time to review as there's going to be so many units. It's basically like Grand Alliance Order, that book, if you remember from when that first came out, apart from Seraphon, more than likely will not be inside it. But no, it's cool because it means like if you've got Sylvaneth, you know, you've got your own allegiance, but now you can take them in another book, which is absolutely great. You know, like I was saying about the Nurgle stuff. Yeah, like Clan Pestilence, you can take in, what you call it, you know, like the Skaven Battle Tome, but you can also take it in Mad King Nurgle. That's cool. Another way to play an army. You've got one army, but you can play it in so many different ways. Like Slave to Darkness, there's so many ways you can play Slave to Darkness. Fortunately, they're not the most competitive models, but there's so many different ways you can play them. It sort of makes up for it. So that's really, really cool. So what are your people's thoughts on the Cities of Sigmar? Do you guys have any thoughts on them at all? Anything you're excited about? Any army you're looking forward to see? Have you got an army that's going to be in that book and you can't wait to see what it's going to be like and hopefully just get a little bit better, a bit more competitive? Is that what you guys are after? Are you guys after more about the lore for the book? Or like, you know, like I say, one of the things I did ask is if there's going to be things like battle plans and stuff in this book. And the reply I did get was, I believe it was a yes. So the reason I asked about battle plans is because they just add so much story, and the fact that it's going to be battle plan with like, you know, all the cities. It's not just like a race in general, like the Flesh-Eater Cults. Like this battle plan involves, you know, Flesh-Eater Cults, which is a race. It'll be more specific and stuff to the certain cities for the Cities of Sigmar, which is cool. Bit annoying how it's the Cities of Sigmar, I personally think, just because there are things like, you know, Wanderers dispossessed, and they don't all worship Sigmar as their god, so I feel like it's not really Cities of Sigmar, it's just like the cities of, I don't know, the refugees of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but I suppose that battle tome name does not sound as good. Sam saying, slightly worried as we are losing some models. Hope can just keep Wanderers, not that I have to mix and still be decent. I think what will be, so if we look at Wanderers, which are, I think they're in a few, but if we look at one of the ones that they are in, which is, you know, like the Living City, you don't have to mix it. You can just take Wanderers in that city as it currently stands, but it just says you can take these other things instead, and you will still get Allegiance abilities if you just take Wanderers. There's nothing saying you can't. It's like, if we say Mad King and Nurgle as the example again, you can just take Rockbringers in that army, or you can just take Demons. You can mix everything if you want. Not really a negative to do that at all. You know, it can be quite good. But there's nothing saying you can't just pick one of them, or if you want to just have Slaves to Darkness in the army. That's how these cities are going to be, I believe. So yeah, it will be quite cool to see them. And like I said, if you guys got any thoughts, make sure you type in the comments as well. If you've got any questions about it. And it was, basically, I had no idea that book was coming out. You know, we always had a hope that they were going to update these rules and stuff. I literally went into Warhammer World. If you've ever been there, you go up some stairs at the start, at the entrance, you go through the shop, browse a couple of things in the shop, and I was like, said to my mate, shall we go and have a look to see what we've got in the main hall, you know, the castle courtyard. And I went into there, absolutely packed. There was about 400 people at Warhammer World, very hot. Went into the main hall, basically took a left, saw Ben Johnson, which you know is the guy who works against Workshop and Flesh Eater Court player, and he does a great job there. And saw these Flesh Eater Courts in the cabinet, spoke to him for a minute, and he said, right, you want to go look over there in that cabinet, right? And I was like, oh, what, is it more of his models or something? You know, wants to show me something like that? I was like, no, go have a look over there, and you won't be disappointed. So I was like, oh, okay, I went over there. This cabinet was only about 4 meters away from me, but there's just about 5 ranks of people between me and it, so I sort of pushed past my way, got there, and I saw that Cities of Sigmar book, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, can't wait to see what this came out. But my first reaction was just, I just didn't really have any words. I was like, this is amazing. Let's go speak to the people who made this book and ask them all the questions, and especially the questions they can't give me answers to. So that is exactly what I did. And then next to that, they also had a like model of one of the gates of Hammerhall. So it was great to see that as well, and to see how it works. And there was even like Hammerhall has got, I didn't even know this, but you know, it was basically this part of the wall was a wall and then a gate in the middle, and then on the wall there were cogs. And how that works is that there are cogs that power these like mechanical wheels that actually move the walls and expand them, and that's how the city gets bigger. Its walls just literally as mechanically self-propelled to expand, and that's how it dominates the countryside, which was absolutely awesome to hear. And it was just so nice to see all these different types of units all mixed up, because I saw things like Pistoliers, Outriders, the Empire General and Griffin, what else, like the Steam Tank, all these other things that, to me anyway, and this might be because I saw them growing up and I really like those models, they don't feel outdated. You know, they got good dynamic poses, so it feels like they should still be in the game, and it's good that they are still going to be in the game with updated rules. So Jeffrey is saying, hey man, hopefully, what's it say? It doesn't mean what you think it does. Check it out in the dictionary. Yeah, so basically, I'm looking forward to that book coming out, and I don't know when it is going to come out. The other thing to talk about with that book is that they did say it was going to be a case of 4 battle tomes coming out this year, 1 for each of the Grand Alliances. That's what they said. There'll be at least 1 for each Grand Alliance, and they brought out, well, if we go back to the start of the year, they brought out Flesh Eater Courts, brought out Skaven, they've brought out Fire Slayers, and they haven't brought out the Destruction one yet. Oh no, they did, sorry. Gloomspike, that was December, wasn't it? Yeah, so that was free. If we look at this, the Warclan one, which is the Europe one, that's the one for Destruction. So technically, they've kept the promise. There's 1 for each one of them. But there's going to be another one for Order here. There was Hedonites of Slaanesh, so there's been so many more that have came out now that it doesn't mean there will be any. It doesn't. So basically, when they said 1 for each Grand Alliance, I thought it was just going to be 4. Now it looks like there's going to be more. So that is very nice to see. As more battle tomes, all the better. But the only thing to remember, Cities of Sigmar doesn't necessarily have to come out this year, because they've already brought out an Order battle tome. It's probably it's going to come out this year, but they don't have to. So just don't have too much hope in it, because you know what Games Workshop's like. I mean, when I went to the first Age of Sigmar Open Day, they showed off the Corn Dragon. I remember seeing that and go, oh my god, that was amazing when I first went there for the first time to Warhammer World. So can't wait for that to come out. If they're showing it now, it'd be amazing. It won't be too long until it's out. 4 years later, the Corn Dragon came out. So yeah, I'm not saying this is going to be 4 years. More than likely won't. More than likely will be this year. But don't have your hopes too high. Any idea about endless spells? I think there will be different endless spells for each city. There's a lot of endless spells, but there may be like 1 for each city, and narrow it down that way. To be honest, no idea for ideas about endless spells, and that is mainly because the fact is there's just too many potential ideas. There's just too many races in those cities to go, right, okay, it's not like the Sylvaneth that just came out, like a big bug, a tree, and I can't remember the other. Is it like a swarm or something? I can't remember. That was quite, not saying I knew those are the end spells that are going to come out, but they were more predictable. Or like the Fire Slayers, not their end spells, but their ruins and whatnot. Where it was like a magma monster thing, and you know, like another fire element that spit fire. You know, those were more predictable. Or the Stormcast, where it's like a common, or a Nighthaunt, where it's a scythe. Those are predictable. These ones are. There's so many different races, you can't narrow it down so easily. That's what I personally think. Have you guys got any ideas what you think the endless spells could be? Firstly, I'd hope there are going to be endless spells. Hopefully there will be. Be a shame if there isn't. I doubt that will be the case, but you know, like I say, never have your hopes too high, as the higher you have your hopes, the sooner they are going to be destroyed by, not saying by Games Workshop, but they do play a part in this all the time. So yeah, I'm very much looking for that. So before we move on to what is the next tab of this, I was even there, and I even read what the thing was called a minute ago. So Destruction Battle Tomes Orc Warclans. So before we move on to that, has anyone got other questions about the Cities of Sigmar book before we move on to the next one? I'll give you guys just a minute or whatever to, if you've got any more questions while I get on painting some of these. If you just joined, what I am painting are my Chaos Knights, which are my Centaurs. Kit bashed a little while ago, and I just need to crack on with painting these and get them done for sure, as they're nice ones. I put some time in, and I'd quite like to get them done. So for a good opportunity to do it whilst I'm doing this video, as doing these live videos do really offer me a chance to be able to crack on my own hobby, which is very nice, especially when you know you don't have that much time and such. So yep, that's that. So there's no more questions. I'll move on to the next one, which is going to be Destruction Battle Tome Orc Warclans. So what are we getting in this one? This is going to be a lot more narrowed down, and this is going to be a Bone Splitters and your Iron Jaws. So firstly, some people were not happy about this because some people wanted their Iron Jaws to have a new updated Battle Tome, and some people wanted their Bone Splitters to have their own new updated Battle Tome. They were perfectly happy with them being separate armies. They just wanted more models and the like, and they weren't happy when they sort of kit bashed them together. I can understand where people are coming from, but I am still a fan of just updating the rules and just expanding on armies, because realistically Games Workshop's not going to make new models. It'd be nice if they did, but they're just going to use them all for Stormcast, aren't they? So you know, you can't expect too much from Games Workshop, you know. And also, you know, like I say, it would be nice to have new models. However, don't always have your hope too high for them. I mean, like when I was doing Legions of Nagash, and I was doing it back when it was Death. And don't get me wrong, Death has been spoiled rotten. It had Nighthaunt that came out, and it had, you know, a great book that came out for Legions of Nagash. Also had a obviously a great book that's came out for Flesh Eater Cults. It's had quite a lot, but because it had been such a long time waiting for that stuff, when Legions of Nagash Battle was announced, I was like, oh, I can't wait for new models. And then you got it, and then there were new models. They had a couple of new War Scrolls, which were cool, but no new models. And I was not devastated, obviously, but I was disappointed because I was like, I've been waiting, like, I think at that point we went like 3 years or something for something new for Death, and this was before Nighthaunt were released, so I didn't have that either, and I was sort of a bit bitter about it. But the book was really good, and what's a really great thing about that book and that release for Legions of Nagash is it just united all these different broken down factions. So the Orc Warclans, like I say, they do have those two armies, which are the Bone Splitters and the Iron Jaws. When they mix up, it'll be interesting to see in the Big Warg how they work, because that's basically there's 3 different allegiances you can take within the Orc Warclans. You got essentially the Bone Splitters, the Iron Jaws, and then the Big Warg. The Iron Jaws, no surprise there, just the Iron Jaws. Bone Splitters, just the Bone Splitters. And then the Big Warg is a combination of the two. And usually when you take a combination of two things, it's sort of like doing the Grand Alliance, where you don't really get too much synergy. But like hopefully what the Free City is going to be, the Big Warg of this will bear that in mind and will give you still synergy between your Iron Jaws and your Bone Splitters. A way how they do this is going, I don't know, units within 6 inches of your general that have the Iron Jaws and Bone Splitter keywords get 1 extra attack for that next combat phase, something like that, you know, and they just included both keywords. is enough just to add that synergy. Very simple done, and would be really, really cool to see. It'd be nice to have mixed forces. I mean, I saw, because again, I took a picture of this and put it on Facebook, and I think someone commented on it saying that they are a massive fan of like Gore Grunters, and the Ironjaw's army is called like the Boar or something, and you know, the Boar Boys or something like that. And this is just giving them more opportunities to have more boars in their army, which is just cool. You know, it's another way to have models you like in your army, which is nice. Have you guys got any thoughts on the Orc Warclans at all, or what you'd like to see come up from that? Any endless spells you've got hoping for the Ironjaws and the Bone Splitters that could potentially come out? Would be nice to see. Another thing about the nice updated Ironjaws is that their War Chanter, you know, the one Ironjaws guy is holding up 2 bones, you know, these 2 sticks, you like, one face Gork and one face Mork, the War Chanter is called, is actually a priest, but he is lacking in prayers. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets a list now where he can do prayers, and then Ironjaws get access to prayers, which is a really more reliable way for them to get some synergy off, rather than just some magic that, you know, I mean, if you're using the, what is it called, the Weird North Shaman, I mean, like, he is cool, but don't roll any doubles with him and you'll be fine, basically. So yeah, it'd be cool to see a more reliable, and I know you can just add in a Gorot Wizard or something, but still, it's nice to keep it all Orc if you want to do that theme. That's how I personally think, and that's how I do it. I think the Grots are cool, but I'm definitely more of an Orc sort of person than Grots, mainly because it's less models to paint, essentially. But no, that is it's nice. It'll be cool, and I look forward to it coming out, basically. So we'll have to wait and see when it's coming out, because again, no release date as far as I'm aware. They basically said they couldn't tell us a release date and when we're there, which is, you know, essentially to be expected, isn't it, when you go to these open days and stuff. You know, Games Workshop isn't going to tell you anything else that they don't put on their community site. You know, that's just how it works. Games Workshop is very secretive about their releases, and they're not going to change by the sounds of things. Apart from they do things like Warcry, and they give you bloody ages in advance, or in more, well, I say more recently, I mean, sort of similar time in Sylvan, like, this is all coming out like next week. And then so was it like a month or 2 later, and it all comes out. And I know that's to do with, I think it's to do with China and America and the sort of trade war. Someone told me that's what it's to do with. Don't know if that's true or not, but it's because the books are printed in China, aren't they? So hopefully there won't be any problems like that in the future. So Joe's saying, I wanted Ironjaws for a long time, but old Battle Tome put me off. Can't wait for the new one. Yep, absolutely agree with you, mate. That's not me saying that I will do Ironjaws, but there's a lot of armies that I was put off doing. Also, the armies that are in the Cities of Sigmar, you know, I'd like to do it, but just the rules are updated, and also, are they going to get rid of them? Who knows? But this is just giving so much reassurance. I think that's the nicest thing. 2 things about these books. It's giving them reassurance, mainly for the Cities of Sigmar, but also for the Warclans. Like, do I? Okay, like I say, you like Ironjaws, Joe, and you're like, do I buy the old Battle Tome? Do I not buy the old Battle Tome? You know, I need it because it's got battalions and stuff in it I want to take, but is there going to be a new one coming out? Now there is a new one coming out, so, you know, save your money, wait for that to come out. But also, if you did buy the old one, it's really cool lore in there anyway, so it's not really too much to lose. But if everyone doesn't have too much money, you know, it's not nice to buy a, like £20 book and then for it to be out of date straight away. Yeah, so it is nice, and it brings more certainty to what's happening with these armies, and it means that if you want to do well with Bone Splitters, you don't just have to take an arrow spam now. I know that's not what everyone did, but it's what some people did. And with Ironjaws, it's like you have more than 3 units to choose from now, which is really, really cool. Be interesting to see how the lore works there, because obviously the Bone Splitters, they hunt down, as far as I'm aware, they hunt down these great monsters across the mortal realms, because they believe when they kill them, I think when they break their bones, they release the spirit of Gork and Morka. I think that's how it works, and that's why they hunt down monsters. Now, the Ironjaws, obviously, they're more big and tough and they love fighting. That's sort of their goal. And they ride big Maw Crushers, but I'm pretty sure a Maw Crusher would be a very nice, not a trophy, but a very nice thing for a Bone Splitter to break in half and release its spirit as Gork and Morka. So, yeah, it's maybe they, I don't know, the Ironjaws go, right, come work for us, and then, I don't know, we'll let you kill this Maw Crusher in like a year's time. I don't know if it works like that, but just interesting to see how it's going to play in the lore. So Joe's saying, have to agree with the City book. At least the Stranger factions aren't going anywhere. Yeah, exactly. It means that Dispossessed aren't going anywhere. Free Peoples aren't going anywhere. Wanderers aren't going anywhere. College Arcane, you know, all these little things aren't going to go anywhere. But like I say, just be careful that the resin models don't go. I mean, that's something that we might see. Some of them might go. So I'm not saying, like I say, go out and buy them now. But, you know, just keep your eye out is all I'm going to say for that one. Because now, it's not nice when they get rid of the resin models. I mean, if they got rid of resin models and got plastic ones, absolutely fantastic. You know, if they did what they did with Gloomspite for every army, I personally think that's the best way to do it. A couple of new models and just update all the old ones. Absolutely amazing. If they did that with Death and they gave us you know, actual Blood Knights that don't cost a kidney and are actually good because they're not in resin, awesome. Is that the case? No, but you know, it would have been really, really cool, essentially. So Sam said, I bet they will update War Dancers. That would be really, really cool if they do, Sam. Hopefully, we can only hope, can't we? Because War Dancers are an awesome model. Some of them are a bit old now. However, if we look at, I don't know, Warhammer Total War is a great example. We look at how War Dancers are portrayed in that and how dynamic they can be. Absolutely awesome. You know, if you compare to things like what they called Reavers for the Internet Deepkin, these are the, you know, the thralls with the bows and stuff that are running and jumping. How they were done were, I can't remember what it's called now. Is it stock promotion? That's probably definitely not what it's called. But it's when people for CGI and stuff, they wear, you know, those black suits with like white bubbles on them and white dots on them, so they can use what do you call it, like graphics basically, just to make them, turn them into like animals, like in Planet of the Apes, those sorts of things. That is apparently how they got to model the little thralls and stuff to get people like running and jumping, and that's definitely something they could do with War Dancers, and that would be a really, really cool thing to see. Are we going to see that? Who knows, but it would be a cool thing to see for sure, and hopefully we can only be surprised, can't we? So, like I say, we'll wait and see for that one. Hopefully it will be good news. Pardon me. So Sam's saying, if we are really lucky, we might get a Forest Dragon, but that's probably a pipe dream. Yeah, I mean, the one thing, I'll be back in a sec, I'll just get my Forest Dragon that I got from Forge World to make a little conversion for one of my favourite characters that ever existed in Warhammer Fantasy, and this is the Sisters of Twilight on Forest Dragon. So this is the one that I did. I got it basically from Forge World and made my own Sisters of Twilight to go on top. I was really excited for using this in my Wanderers army. This is probably what we're talking about like 2 or 3 years ago now. I was really happy for it. I was really looking forward to it, and then they ended up basically discontinuing this model and didn't sell it anymore. They basically just made it so you couldn't use it in Wanderers, and then this model never saw the light of day again, which was very, very sad for me because it was my first sort of conversion or something. This was my first Forge World model that I bought. It's technically a Warp Fire Dragon, but I bought it for my Forge Dragon to use for the Sisters of Twilight, and then Games Workshop basically kicked me massively in the balls, and then when I fell down, they kicked me in the face. And that's very much how I feel to this day about this model. So yes, as a sad, sad tragedy of a story. What was that? So Joe saying, so would that not fall in the to Sylvaneth though in the new lore? War of a Dragon? You'd hope so. Maybe they ain't got a dragon yet, and they just got a new book and they say, I don't think it would. I think it's more of a Wanderers thing. They are. Was it the Sylvaneth are spirits, aren't they? But dragons and stuff, they're more of a living creature. That's how I look at it anyway. So you guys like, oh, cheers, mate. Yeah. So I was happy with the conversion and stuff for this, but unfortunately, just I'm using a mixed order army, which isn't terrible, but isn't great. And then I think they made the dragon weaker, and I was just fed up at that point, which is really, really sad. I still have it in my cabinet though, so it's, you know, it's next to Archaon technically right now at the moment. So yeah, I was I'm still glad I did the conversion, but it's just a shame. It's like the Demon Prince I made for my Sinesh army, and I made a Demon Prince for Sinesh army. No, sorry, I'm completely wrong. Did not make a Demon Prince for the Sinesh army. I made a new model for the what was it, Sinesh Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount, which was the guy on the boob worm. You know, the worm that had lots of boobies, and I made a conversion for him. Finished it 2 days before they got rid of that model and got rid of his War Scroll, and I was really, really annoyed. And then I ended up finding out that its base size is the same base size for a Demon Prince, so I ended up just using a Demon Prince, but still very annoyed with that, as that happened to me quite recently. Sam saying, Forest Dragon was a pet of Orion, which is the old leader of the one. Yeah, so Orion was like, he embodied him. The spirit of Orion, sorry, was it the spirit of Kurnos embodied himself into a a Glade Prince? Something like that, I can't remember now. But yes, Orion was the person who went on the wild hunt and was the leader of the Widows and was married to Alariel, I want to say. Back in the world that was. But yeah, so did quite like this dragon that I worked on, but unfortunately now no longer has a place in Age of Sigmar until hopefully one day in the future. So I just put it back. And also with the Sylvanar stuff, I have actually bought some Sylvanar stuff a little while ago and have not got around to building painting it at all, which is something I really do need to do. However, I've got so many projects on the go now, it's absolutely crazy, and that's why I'm working on my Snash in this video, because I really need to basically get a move on with them, in all honesty. Yeah, really do. So many projects, not enough time, as always. Sam saying, a noble Kurnoth hunter gave his body to be Orion for that year. Yeah, and didn't they die or go to sleep in winter, something like that? I'm really trying to remember the lore now. But yeah, Wanderer's really cool, and also saying that, you know, what else, obviously from the world it was, that was cool. I'm a fan of Wanderers, although I've got a few of them, and the Nomad Prince now, which was, I think it's called the Glade Lord back then, is one of my favourite models from him. He's the guy who's holding the crow out, well, not the crow, so the hawk. He can peck the enemy's eyes out and give them -1 to hit, which is absolutely hilarious. And the Waywatcher is really cool. Really nice to see a new Waywatcher model. That would be really nice. If we could get a new Waywatcher model, that would be fantastic. As the old one is metal, and that's really enough said. Yes, you can convert up the Dark Elf Assassin to be that Waywatcher, but it's quite nice when you don't have to do conversions all the time just to get the models you want. Yeah, like I wanted some Centaurs in my Slave of Darkness, and I'm having to make them. I realise that's because very specific taste. However, here I am redoing my own Slaves of Darkness models for an army that is not competitive in the slightest, but I do like them. Slaves of Darkness, I think they are cool. I'm waiting for Slaves of Darkness Battle Tome. Not gonna lie, was very sad to hear the no news of one in the open day. Would have really liked the Slaves of Darkness Battle Tome, and they didn't announce it in the open day, so sort of dims my hope there will be one soon. But we never know. Maybe there will be. Maybe there will be next year, which would be cool for sure. So yeah, pretty distracted there from the Orc Warclans, but essentially that's a new Destruction Battle Tome coming out, and again, no release date, but it will be nice to see the Orcs united a bit, and I personally think this is a move in the right direction. Some people would have wanted them separately and new models, but like I say, realistically, well, turns out that wasn't going to happen, so I'd rather this than nothing else. Okay, so the next thing we are going to talk about is going to be on the destruction theme, and this, of course, is going to be talking about the new ogres. So, the new ogres, what can I tell you about them? So this is for Gutbusters specifically. Now, some people are, oh, this is going to be a new battle tome come out that's going to unite the Beastclaw Raiders and the Gutbusters, which, to be honest, that's what I thought it was. I would have put a big bet that that's what it's going to be. Gutbusters and Beastclaw Raiders are going to be united, and that is what we're going to see. However, looking at the trailer for the Gutbuster video, the Ogre video if you like, not a single Beastclaw Raider model that I can personally see. And because of that, I don't think it's going to be Beastclaw Raiders. Also, they're called Gutbusters. Sorry about the camera shaking, guys, as well. The table needs to be... It's a bit of an old table. I really need a new one. It's a bit shaky. But, so going back to what I was saying, the reason I don't think the Beastclaw Raiders will be in this new book is because it's called the... oh, God. Literally, what's it? The Moor Tribes. And Gutbusters Moor, they have like the gut plate, all that sort of thing. I think it's going to be them. And also, in the video, they didn't show a single Beastclaw Raider model from what I can see. And this is why I definitely think that is going to be... Well, I say, okay, this is why I believe it is going to be more of the Gutbusters. And they have given us a new model. They've given us a new Ogre Tyrant, which is very cool. That Ogre Tyrant was actually in one of the cabinets at Warhammer World right from the start of the day, and that was at a point where they didn't even mention that there was going to be a new ogre battle tome. There was still no one knew all that sort of thing, but they showcased this new ogre tyrant right front and center. But it was one of the first things you saw when you came into the hall. However, the reason most people didn't take notice of it is because it just looked like it was conversion. And that's not saying it was bad, it just looked like, oh, that's a cool thing someone's converted. And then it turns out that's actually a new model that everyone just overlooked. And I personally think that's quite cool. Being able to pull that off is quite a nice little trick. You know, basically hiding in plain sight was very nice to see there. So yes, and then a new model. The only problem with a new model is that it makes me feel like this is going to be the only new model they get, which, yeah, that could be the case. We could not be seeing any more models, but, you know, let's not be too, how should we say it, pessimistic before we know that for sure, shall we? So, yeah, hopefully there'll be new models, but like I say, don't get your hopes up. That's all I'm going to say if you are an Ogre fan. But no, Ogres needed some love for sure. They've been, well, missing out for a long time. Gutbusters have been needing their own Allegiance abilities for a long time. Although I did play against a Gutbuster army. Was it Gutbuster? No, I played against a Gutbuster army. Sorry, at a Warhammer tournament at Warhammer World recently, and it did 32 damage to Nagash on turn 1. An Ogre Tyrant did 32 damage to Nagash, unsaved damage. I'll have that. Turn 1. So they were like struggling, but maybe not too much. Like after seeing that, I was like, I didn't even know these things could even do like 8 damage to him turn 1, let alone bloody 32 unsaved. And bear in mind, Nagash, I think he was saving on like 4s or something, so quite lucky for me. But you know, it does just show that, yeah, with the new book they could be horrible because they can still hit really, really, really hard. Yeah, so that's that. Right, so what we got? So Joe was saying that would be cool. Slates of Darkness seems to get a ton of buffs if you use them in the God books, though. Yeah, no disagreement at all, mate. They get a ton of buffs, even just taking them in a Sinesh army. And that means all my Slates of Darkness units, when they roll 6 to hit, that generates an extra wound roll. Not an extra attack, but an extra wound roll, you know. So basically it makes it, you get a 6, it makes 2 successful hits instead of just the 1 that you rolled, which is absolutely massive. No, not disagreeing with that. You take it with, Blades of Corn, you can take Blood Scrapes to give them extra attacks. You can take them in a Zeech army, so you can basically just choose their dice rolls if you like. Nurgles to make them tougher. You can take them in so many different Chaos God armies to make them so much stronger. But what I'm talking about, it would be really nice to just be able to take Slaves of Darkness in their own legions, rather than just doing a specific god. And obviously you can see that mine are painted Sinesh-like, but it'd be still nice to be able to take their own allegiance, because in their own allegiance they're quite cool, because it means like you can make the Knights battle line, you can make Chariots battle line, there's a lot you can do with it. And then if you take them to other things, just it cuts a lot of that away, but it makes them better competitively. But it'd be really nice to still have that sort of theme that I feel like we're missing. But no, they are a little bit like the Stormcast of Chaos, how they can fit in most, you know, the god, well, they can fit in the god armies, can't they? Apart from the Greyhound Round, I say they can't fit in his army. So yeah, they are very flexible. I'd say Slaves are very flexible, I think is the word for them. So Steve's saying, are Beastgrave Raiders and all the Ogres together now? I personally don't think they will be. Hopefully they will, and I thought they were going to be, but after seeing the trailer, I don't think they will be. Unless they release a new trailer where they show them all together, I doubt it, just because that's not the direction the trailer was going in all honesty. So hopefully I'm wrong, but I don't think I will be, unfortunately. I want to be wrong, but I don't think I will be about that, unfortunately, because I mean, like, they basically, you know, Gutbusters could deal with like a big monster in their army, and then the Beast Corps could really deal with like some, you know, infantry in their army, like even if it's just monstrous infantry, they could do with some, so they could really both help each other out. But then that's why I think that it's a sad thing. I don't think that's going to happen. And I mean, look, they were together, and then they got broken apart from Games Workshop. It's not like Games Workshop's like, oh, why don't we have this really cool idea about making these 2 completely separate armies the same army? No, you used to do that, and for some reason you stopped it. It's like what you did with Death. And a main big one was also, what do you call it? Beasts of Chaos when I was like, right, War Herds, and then what was it? War Herds and Bray Herds. Bray Herds, all infantry, no monsters, no monstrous infantry. They basically have the numbers but don't really have anything else. And then War Herds, they're tough, they're strong, but they don't have any numbers. And it's like, surely just put them back together again. It makes so much more sense. And that's why I said, when I did the Legion of Nagash Bastome review, I said from that day, over a year ago now, I said that this is going to be the first of uniting old armies again. And I was, quite pleasantly, I can say I was right. I'm not right about everything, but I was right about that. And it's really nice to see that come through. So we've also got a really, the two battle tomes they definitely have announced are really obviously show that my prediction was correct, because we've got the City of Sigmar, and then we've also got the Warclans. What it says on the tin, literally. So, like I say, that is really, really nice to see. So maybe with that theme, we will see the Beastcore Raiders in the same army as the Gutbusters, but I'm not going to, you know, shall we say, put all my money on it, just because it's Games Workshop at the end of the day. And just as much as you think they are clever, sometimes they're not as clever as you would like them to be. So, yeah, right, okay, so we got anything else? So, Steve is saying, and no Seraphon love. Yeah, definitely, yeah, no Seraphon love. Absolutely, can't be giving those dinosaurs love. Nobody likes dinosaurs, apparently. So, yeah, it would have been nice to have some Seraphon love, but admittedly, no Seraphon love at all. However, I did put up a few pictures on Facebook, like I said, my name on that's like Patrick Galvin. I did put up a few pictures on Facebook, what have on the Age of Sigmar Facebook like fan page, I think it's called, which was a really, really cool conversion. And that's the important thing, is conversion. It's not an actual model, it's conversion. But not too highly done. I think, you know, you can see what comes from. I did like a list of what it's made out of. And that conversion was by, I want to call him Chris Party. I think, was it Chris Party who did it? I'm trying to remember. And he made a Croxigor by the looks of things, which had basically a bottle of a troll, you know, the new troll kit, head of a Dracoline, had like a Necron gun, it like loads of these other cool things. I don't think they make any sense. However, when you see the model, it looks like such an awesome conversion that it inspires you to do your own. So, like I say, no new models, but when you see things like that, it inspires you to, you know, be creative and make your own. Hopefully, though, you know, there's always later. There's always next year is now, I think, for that one, which you can only hope, basically. I don't know why they wouldn't do a release for Seraphon too far away in the future, just because, you know, Seraphon is a popular army. People love dinosaurs, and then people love dinosaurs riding dinosaurs, and people love T-Rexes. That is a fact. You know, majority of the population on this earth likes T-Rexes. So the fact that they are not updating said T-Rexes, especially when it's a T-Rex riding a Velociraptor, or the other way around, unless that could be a new model, who knows? Yeah, they should get an update soon, mate. Don't. Well, okay, not soon, but eventually they will get their update. Don't worry too much about it. Yeah, hopefully one day, mate. Hopefully one day. That's all I can really sort of say about that until we have any more news. So yeah, hopefully one day Seraphon will get released, but not at this day. I did ask them though if there was going to be a Seraphon release, and they said can't possibly tell you. So there's your answer, mate. Because I did see that you wanted me to ask that. Unfortunately, not the best answer. But that's the answer I got. And he said I have a State of Darkness and Seraphon look at. What's that? I have State of Darkness and Seraphon look at all the money I'm saving. Yes, exactly. You don't want to have your army updated. Trust me, I had that with my Skaven and my Flesh-Eater Courts, and then I updated it. And I had to buy the books, the spells, and the singing pieces and whatnot. And that ended up sending me over £100. So that's £100 I would have much rather liked to have saved, but I literally just had to buy them because it was in the update and I couldn't use the old rules. That was it. And then it was talking about, you know, the base sizes changed, and I can't really use Flesh-Eater Courts these days because the base sizes are too big for scenic reasons. So yes, it's not nice. It's not always nice when your army gets updated, and also Flesh-Eater Courts for me now is just, they're not overpowered incredibly, but they're too good for me to want to use. You don't have to be too smart with them, so that's why I don't like them. I don't think. I'm not saying that they're not hard to use. I'm not saying people don't use them and got tactics. Obviously they do, because the people who use them are winning tournaments, so it shows they are really good. However, how do I like to say, they're not the most difficult army to just smash your enemy's face in. So yes, and yes, Steve, literally just don't always worry about your army not getting the updated, because That's not always a good thing, believe me. And also coming from someone who does Legions of Nagash and had been playing Death of, like I say, since Age of Sigmar came out, playing Death all the time, being the only Death player in my store, you know, being able to complain, didn't have any new models, loving life essentially, didn't know what I was missing at that point in time, didn't know what I was missing, loving life, knowing that I hadn't been updated. And then my army did get updated, and every fucking person in the store, well, not all of them, but a lot of them, and at tournaments started taking bloody Legions in the Gash, and I wasn't the only Death player anymore. And I literally felt like buying a t-shirt saying that Death from the start, because I had been waiting ages for this, for an update to make Death great again, and then they got it, and then everyone else started doing it. People were like, oh yeah, I've always liked Death. No, you haven't. You didn't bloody play them when they were crap, did you? And now suddenly when they got good, you signed bloody so up to play them just because they're winning tournaments. And I will stop, you know, venting about that now, but bloody hell, that is absolutely annoying when that happens to your own army, because I like doing armies that aren't massively popular, hence Slaves of Darkness. Now, if you do Slaves of Darkness, very cool. That's not what I mean by they're not popular, but it's nice that then you don't see them everywhere. So that's, to be honest, that's why I say it would be nice to see some Slaves of Darkness. However, they did see something, the Slaves of Darkness got really good, it might mean they're more popular, and then that might mean that it's a case of more people start doing them, which I think would be the case because their models are classic but nice, and then I'll get angry that everyone's doing my army. So Age Sinesh saying I am the same with my Sinesh. Yeah, so was that like you had a lot of Sinesh stuff and then other people started playing it and then you're not the only Sinesh player anymore? Welcome to that life. It's really annoying when that happens. Sam says that's gonna be me. No one believes. Yeah, so I was like, oh, Evan at the moment is like Wanderers. Yeah, they're alright. I don't really care about them. As soon as that book drops, so if they become good, I'll be like, oh, I've always liked Wanderers. Yeah, I thought, what, this Wanderer tattoo, mate? Had it always. What? And like with Sinesh stuff, like before Sinesh was popular, I was like, oh, I don't really care about Sinesh. The models are quite old, aren't they? And then as soon as the new Sinesh battle tone drops, it's like, oh, what, this Sinesh tattoo, mate? I've always had that. Yeah. What, you never seen it? What, the one on my neck? Yeah, I don't know why I haven't seen it, mate. Oh, I've always been a Sinesh fanboy. Don't know what you're talking about. And then Joe's saying, so I play Nurgle, and they're already feeling outdated. Age of Sinesh, mainly because of Sinesh. Yeah, so there are Nurgle. I wouldn't say it's outdated. I would just say it was the first book of the new edition. So you just got to bear that in mind. Every other book was sort of a reflection on that book, and as always, there is a power creep. So if your book was the first book of the second edition and it's been power creeping since, it's going to be not the weakest, but one of the weaker of the new books that come out naturally. But they are still doing well in tournaments. Nurgle are very tough, very hard to try and kill. And you know, like I said, when I've been reviewing them, because obviously I'm reviewing them at the moment on the archive, that's something I have noticed. I mean, they definitely can play. Yeah, so Sam's saying you get hit with the -1, he ruins you, and then Steve is saying, who cares about Nurgle? Khorne needs a new book. Right, I can literally probably smash all these models now with the amount of bloody Khorne books I've got, for sure. I mean, Khorne does not need new books. Khorne gets... The only reason why Khorne does not look like it's the favourite golden boy of Warhammer Age of Sigmar is because their Stormcast exists. That's the only reason. But like, I like Khorne, and as you'll find out later in this video, I got something that proves just how much I like Khorne. But even still, Khorne does not need an update. Khorne has got far too much stuff already, and that is the end of it. If someone puts in this chat that they want the Stormcast to be updated, I'm going to not going to say anything because someone may put Stormcast needs to be updated, but I will not be happy. If you think Stormcast need an update, I will not be happy. Even though I know that they are going to get an update at some point soon, because Stormcast will get an update, mainly because they have not got a See Me Peace or Prayers yet. That is the one reason they'll get a new book, because they haven't got See Me Peace or Prayers. And any other army, oh, sorry, I play, I don't know, what's an example? I play Phoenix Temple, but I don't have my spells, my See Me Peace late. Yeah, get to the back of the queue, mate. Stormcast, oh, I'm missing my prayers. I have my endless spells, but I don't have prayers and I don't have a See Me Peace. Oh, sorry, sir, right this way. Didn't realise you were VIP. Right to the front of the queue. Yeah, that's very much how it feels. I'm not a Stormcast fan. I don't know if you guys know about this. A lot of the models I have for Stormcast, I literally spent £30 on Liberators. and also I bought the Souls box and all the Stormcasts I cut up. For example, these are Stormcast bodies on top of the Centaurs I've got here. These are the Liberators. You get like, you know, the standard one. You know, when you start Age of Sigmar, if you went to Games Workshop, they say, oh, hey, come here, test out paint a Liberator. I bought 30 of those on eBay to use for either for modelling like this or for cutting up and showing their intestines and stuff, like I did on my Nagash model. So yes, that's why I'm not a massive fan of Stormcast. However, maybe in the future, who knows, maybe when they get the update, shall I say. And what have we got? So Joe is saying, was it 5th Corn book of AOS incoming? Yeah, really don't need it. Also, if you guys, who plays Corn here? Do any of you guys play Corn? Because if you do, surely it's a bit annoying buying a bloody new battle tome like every year. Surely, doesn't that get a bit, like 25 quid each time, isn't it? And especially, you know, like the newer limited edition ones. If you buy a limited edition book and then it turns into a more of a limited edition for about 6 months until there's a new one, surely it annoys you. You know, what a waste of money. That's what I personally think. Also, I think the new Corn Battle Zone, which I have bought, I feel like that is the artwork, the front picture. Okay, the front cover of that is not as cool as the one before that, where the blood letter on it. I think the blood letter one was much cooler. But who knows? Because the Corvus Cold picture is nice, but that's been around for a long time. So yeah. And then Stevenson through what was it? So sorry, let me be able to speak properly. So is the Free Cities basically Bretonnia? No, it's not Bretonnia. It is far from it, in all honesty. It's basically just uniting Wanderers, Dispossessed, Free Peoples, Stormcast, Sylvaneth, College Arcane, all these little things, Phoenix Temples, all these little things. Basically every faction in order, pretty much, apart from Seraphon. Specifically, Seraphon will not be allowed in the Free Cities, as far as I'm aware. Will have access to this book, which is cool. So as long as you're not a Seraphon player, you get new stuff. If you are a Seraphon player, well, what did I say earlier about get to the back of Cube? I've been waiting ages for my models to come out. That makes no difference. As like I said in a video recently where I talked about the what is Age of Sigmar, and at the start of the video I said something along the lines of was it Stormcast have stolen all the other armies' loves from GW, and they sort of really are annoying as well. Right, so Joe is saying all Stormcast need is a 5+ Noah save, seeing a piece, and they're done. Can't believe she said that. You can give Stormcast Eternals a 6+ bloody extra save if you want. Stormcast just, that's the thing. I always complain about Stormcast. I always say they're really good here, they do that, they get everything. Not really winning all the tournaments though, are they? I'm not saying they can't win tournaments, they do, but they're not winning all of them. And I think personally that's down to Stormcast players more than the army itself, so just going to leave that statement out there. Because I think they're sort of an easy army, aren't they? They're sort of for people who can't play the game. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Stormcast really. A super easy army for people who can't play the game, in my personal opinion. And if you're waiting for me to review the Stormcast, just remember it's going to be a completely biased review on Stormcast Eternals, and it's probably not going to reflect what they are actually like in any shape or form. So yes, do look forward for that review coming out in some point in the future, as I did compare them in my What is Age of Sigmar video to the SS of Nazi Germany. So yes, that is my thoughts on Stormcast Eternals. If we could please move on. Okay, so now that we have talked about the Free Cities, I keep them calling Free Cities, the cities of Sigmar, even that all the people who are there don't worship Sigmar as their deity. Don't know why that is the case, but anyway, cities of Sigmar. We then also looked at the Warclans, the Orc Warclans, and then we looked at the Ogres. So what is next? Now the next thing is going to be the most... Well, okay, well before we go on to that, we'll look at this. So we've got Beastgrave. Now this was the new release that's coming for Warhammer Underworlds. So you know you've got Warhammer Underworlds Shadespire, and you've also got Warhammer Underworlds Night Vault. That's the name of it, I do remember. And then now the new one's going to be Warhammer Underworlds Beastgrave. And I don't play it, but anytime I refer to Warhammer Underworlds, I call it Shadespire because that was the name they sold it as, and that's the name that sticked in my mind. So I don't care if I get it wrong. But anyway, so we've got Warhammer Underworlds, which is quite cool. Set in the realm of Agur. It's like sort of in a mountain, I think. and they did like a very silhouette pictures of the new models video of it, so you can only see the outline of them. But it looks like we've got some cool Beasts of Chaos models coming out. Like we've got like a Hunter with a bow, got a new Centaur. Looks like we've got some cool stuff coming out. Are they just going to be Beasts of Chaos? Who knows? There might be, might not be, but that will be a cool release. I believe that will be coming out, and I do look forward to seeing what is going to be up with that. Steve saying Underworlds will always be Shadespire. All my gamer club call that. Yeah, I don't know why they're still going with the Warhammer Underworlds thing. They should have just gone, right, the first edition was called Warhammer Underworlds, and now everything else is called Shadespire. It just would have been, why give something to, you know, Warhammer Underworlds Beast, it's Warhammer Underworlds Shadespire is quite a long thing. Why are they just called Shadespire? Like Warcry. It's not Warcry, it's not the Call of the Dark Gods, Warcry, you know, it's just Warcry. It just makes things more sense, in my personal opinion. Obviously, in my long experience of not actually being a rule writer or anything like that, I personally feel like that's what they should have called it. But yeah, so that is that with that old bloody hell. Not doing too well painting these knights, but you know I wouldn't be because I get distracted. But that is fine. So, what are people's thoughts on the Shadespire? Does anyone play Shadespire? Because I personally don't play it. There's not too many people in my local store who do play it, but I know it is popular in some places. So, it'll be interesting to hear if you guys do play it. And the like, because the warbands you get for Shadespire are pretty cool, especially when you get for armies that haven't had any new models. Like when we looked at the Death one that first came out as first skeletons, new skeletons we saw for Games Workshop, or just new Death models in general. That was really cool to see. Got that. We also got like when the Skaven came out there, warband, that was cool. Most of the others, the Fire Slayers, cool, but in my honest opinion, Fire Slayers all sort of look the same, if I'm honest. That's just how it is, unfortunately, but like I say, that's how they do look to me. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do with it, and because and yeah, like I say, any new models always a good thing. Even if you don't like, oh, I don't like how that unit is, just use it for conversions, mate. Like a new Centaur, well, I'm making my own, aren't I? So if I knew those new Centaur came out, it would have been cool. So Joe saying, yeah, occasionally it is very competitive. That's cool then. That's good to hear. It's obviously the card-based and hex-based one. Are you excited for the new one then, Joe? For the new, I've forgotten the name already. The new Beastgrave one. Are you excited for that? Steve saying is I play it, but I'm not a fan of chasing cards for it. If you get more warbands, yeah, fair enough, mate. You know, when you buy it, you sort of like to just have it rather than having to obviously update stuff. H&S saying I started to play Shadespire. See, look, you call it Shadespire as well. Everybody calls it Shadespire. Right, so you started to play it, really liked it, then realised that in order to have a chance of winning, you need to buy all the warbands to get the best cards. Yeah, and Games Watch, they could easily just sell the cards separately, but they won't, because they want you to buy all the warbands to make more money. And I just feel like it's a business, they need to make money, but would be, you know, Games Workshop tends to be a friend, doesn't it? So I'm not saying they are your friend, because they're not, but it would be nice if you didn't have to. You know, you might only want warband, but you want one of the warbands, but you have to buy all the other cards just to stay top of your game, which is a shame, really, in my opinion. But like I say, if they want to do it, they want to do it, don't they? And it's their stuff, so they can really do what they want, obviously. But hopefully, you know, one day we'll be able to buy the cards separately. And I think, to be honest, if that's the case, and if that what puts some people off, then it's their loss, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's their loss if that's how they're going to run it, and people aren't going to buy it in that case. But no, so hopefully this new one, this new era, maybe see that. But anyway, the new models that are coming out for it, the silhouettes you saw, do look quite cool. And like I say, like a new sort of like Archer, and then like a Centaur, and there might be another one, but I can't remember right at this moment in time. Right, so on that, we're then going to move up to the next one, which is talking about the Bone Pact, I believe, and it's going to be a new series of little videos that are coming out, and the first one is called the Tithe, and this is for Necropolis. I can't pronounce that word. And this was very interesting. This was the most teased thing at Warhammer Age of Sigmar Open Day. Now the interesting thing is when they played it to us in the main hall at Warhammer World in the castle courtyard, they played it, but there's just no sound, so had no idea what's going on. They tried to play it like 4 more times, it just wasn't working, so we ended up just watching it on YouTube on the way home. But yep, Tomb Kings. Alright, you beat me to it. I was going to say, I believe this is Tomb Kings. Not going to say for definite, but my personal opinion is it's for Tomb Kings. The only doubt I have is that if it's Tomb Kings, I presume Cetra. But the only doubt I have is that the person talking in this video, who I think is Cetra, says that he refers to Nagash as his master. That does not sound like Cetra to me. This is not the Cetra I know who refuses to kneel. That is not the Cetra I know to call Nagash his master. So, a little bit hesitant on that. The other thing it could be is a Vlad von Carstein, which absolutely, it is Vlad von Carstein. Oh, that's going to... With 16,000 points painted of death, and I'd even buy more death if that's Vlad von Carstein, because oh my god, that would be awesome. However, it seems like it is definitely a death release. Like I say, we can't always be sure, so using the word definitely very lightly, but it did look very much like death artwork. And the only thing that gives me doubt though is the music they play at the end of the video, where it looks like it almost sounds like, is it Celtish sort of music? It sounds like, you know, that sort of thing, like Highlander sort of music, which doesn't really fit into death at all. Like, it's cool music at the end, but then it's just like, you know, it feels like quite dramatic, and it makes you like, looking forward to this release, or sort of, you know, pulls on the heartstrings a little bit, but doesn't really fit in. So interesting to see what that could be. But yeah, so Steve's saying, or ninja death skeletons. I would not object to ninja death skeletons. That would be cool. There was a cool conversion I saw at Warhammer World on that note, where someone banished Grimghast Reapers or Blade Guys, I think that might have been, with Skaven to make really cool Clan Eshin Night Runners. So yeah, that's called. Right, okay, so the next one we've got Joe saying, no, not really. I think Night Vault, so I guess going back to Chase well. I think Night Vault was a bit boring. Spells was the only thing. Have to agree with everyone. You have to buy everything to have a competitive deck. Yeah, that's a shame. It's not too much pay to win, because obviously there's only a limited amount of Warbands. I suppose it just keeps going, isn't it? So it's essentially pay to win, isn't it? And obviously Warhammer is that to an extent. But for a card game, it'd be nice if it wasn't. Right, okay, so apologies about the camera and stuff shaking. It's just basically the table is very wobbly. This is my hobby desk. Don't have another table, and it's a bit old, so it's a bit shaky. But anyway, right, okay, so Sam is saying, another army for you. I'm sure you are a premium customer. What, for games? Yeah, might have a few armies, mate. Yeah, might have a absolutely ridiculous amount of armies. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that so much work needs to be done on them is a absolute, I'm not going to say joke, because they will all be built and painted, or I will just sell them all off one day. One day in the future that will happen, but not today. Okay, so Steve is saying, if it is a vampire death army, my wallet will hate me. Yes, it will. So if it is a vampire death army, it'll be Vlad von Carstein, it'll be absolutely awesome. I'll be cutting the kidney out myself at this point, to give it to Games Workshop for, and also what is left of my soul I'll be selling as well probably at this point, to be able to get a new Vlad von Carstein. Oh, can you imagine a new Vlad von Carstein model? Like a new Mortar. How cool would that be? Or, yeah, so really cool. The other thing I'm thinking about, well, maybe it's not a servant of Nagash, and it's another death guy, if you like, another death character that's talking in that video. And when he says master, he's referring to another entity, another god of death as the master god. Oh, Nagash has got, you know, a new competition on the block sort of thing in his own realm. But I believe he did say at the start of Age that Nagash did consume every other death god, so I don't think that would be a case, but it could be cool. Sam is saying, well, I've painted 16 models, and I've just found I cannot bring 16... what's that? Sorry, I've just painted 16 models, and just found out I cannot bring 16 models. Have to get another pack of Glade Guard, and then you have two left over. Wonder if they will change that. Not anytime soon. They've even reboxed the Glade Guard, so not anytime soon, unfortunately. But you know, you never know. Maybe pleasantly surprised, but not anytime soon. I can almost guarantee you that, unfortunately, Sam. That's the answer to that one. Unfortunately, would be nice, but you know, there's essentially, you know, Games Workshop's got their mind on bigger game, haven't they? So yeah, maybe one day though. Maybe one day. Never stop believing, isn't it? So there we go. So yeah, so I believe it's either Zetra or Lavon cast time. There is room for it to be other things, obviously, but that's what I would bet on, and that's also what I'm hoping with my heart as well. If it is Cetra and the Return of Tomb Kings, I believe it's going to be a lot more construct related rather than like Skeleton Archers, Skeleton Chariots. I think it'll be a lot more constructor based. Because let me speak properly. Constructs like the Necro Sphinxes, the War Sphinxes, the Ushtarpi, the Cervical Stalkers, the snakes, the Tomb Scorpions. All these things are all quite unique. Like everyone can do deaf skeletons and all these, like deaf Egyptians, but when it's more construct related and they go quite high fantasy with it, they can start putting a IP on it. They can start making it a bit more unique and trademark it, and that's all games which was really interested is being able to trademark their models. So that is what we're going to be looking for. Sam says, I feel like I'm being mean at leaving two guys behind watching their brothers die. Well, if you're leaving them behind, they're not dying, are they? So you're sort of doing them a favour, really, especially how Wanderers are at the moment. But that's all going to change with the new book, I'm sure, so don't worry too much about it. Who knows, in the new book, they may update it. They may update to say, obviously not update how many models you get in a box, but they may update to say how many are in a unit. You never know. But they also like you to have these odd numbers. Sorry, let me just, probably quite tired. They also do like to sell you a box with an odd number amount of models in it, so they can go, oh yeah, I mean, like, you're going to have to leave some behind. But what that means, if you're leaving some behind, is that you don't want to do that. You want to take, max size units. You want to max size, what you have bought. So in order to do that, you have to buy loads of boxes. They did that at Flesh Eater Courts, and it was an absolute pain in the arse to make Courtier. So I ended up just buying like literally about 15 boxes or something to make everything I needed. Cost an absolute fucking fortune, and really, really annoying. Especially with the new Flesh Eater Court release, I was like, all right, they're gonna just make Courtier separate. Fantastic. They didn't do that. Absolute joke. They could have literally just sold the same model separately and just put a bloody 20% markup on it because you're buying it separately. I wouldn't have cared. They didn't even do that, which is a real big shame. And games, they just want money, don't they? So that's why they do it, essentially. So yeah, that is going to be the type. And also, like I said, it's going to be a series of videos, so we are going to learn more. I will be covering that on the channel the more we learn about it. Obviously, for sure, because that is something that is very cool. Something that we'll see more of, and it was called, the Bone Pack is now broken, what's being said in the audio for that video. And the Bone Pack is also referred to in the the Warclans, something like whatever the ogre thing was. It was referred to, the Bone Pack is now broken out. It's basically feast on the bones. So it is definitely going to be a thing that's going to be taken over Age of Sigmar, like Soul Wars, something like that. Hopefully it's going to be the new thing, which would be cool to see. Or it could be a new box set of this new Death Army, and also Gutbusters could be the new Age of Sigmar box set, which would be really cool to see. And we'll have to wait and see for that one, obviously. But it all sounds good. All these releases are good fun. It's good. When it comes down to things like Warcry, like I say, I played it. Very nice game. Very simple to learn. All these are things we learned it within about 10-15 minutes. We're happy we didn't need to tell us how it worked anymore, which is good. The other cool thing about their Warhammer World is they gave you a model to be able to paint up there. So I spent 5 minutes painting this. If you look at it closely, it looks absolutely horrendous. But from this distance from the camera, it probably looks all right, hopefully. So yeah, we got to paint up one of these, which was the Iron Golems, which was cool. As to be honest, Iron Golems wasn't a fan of, and then when I started painting up my own one, I became more of a fan of, and the model's just really dynamic. I got given two choices which one I painted, either this one or just one who was holding like a really basic weapon. I was like, no, definitely the one whipping the chain, 100%. And you got a free model, really cool. And the game it's good. The warbands, okay, so when the game pre-order, obviously, when I saw the pre-order, I was a case of going, I thought it'd be £90, £100 for it. I was like, that's quite a lot. But after seeing how big some of the senior pieces are, I'm like, it justifies it a bit more. And then after hearing like each warband apparently is going to cost £30 by themselves, £30 for those 10 models, I personally think that's pretty expensive. I mean, I would have hoped 20, 25 at most. However, you're going to get cards in there as well, so maybe that justifies it. But is more on the expensive side for infantry models. You know, sort of talking about Daughters of Cain sort of prices almost for the witch elves. Not quite as expensive that, but head in that direction. So just bear that in mind. Essentially, if you want to collect all the war bands, it is going to cost you a bit of money. It's not something that you can all do like within under £100. It's going to cost more than that. But you know, you can start off a couple. You just buy the box set and then start off with those, and then buy the ones you want. Me personally, my favourite ones are the sorry, what they call the Broken Fang, which are the snake ones. They're definitely my favourite. So I will be buying those. Buddy of mine is getting the game, so I probably won't need to buy Warcry, but I'll just get my warband, and that will be good. How the scenery for that game is very nice, and I do want that. Because also, even just for big monsters and stuff, and their bases will be really cool to have. I think, but also for gaming tables and all that sort of thing, would be really, really nice to see. But like we say, it's quite expensive, so we have to wait. I spent quite a lot of money on the hobby. Like I say, we'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, quite expensive for right now, especially before payday. Yeah, so we'll just wait for that. But yeah. So anyone said anything in chat? So Steve said a GW game that's simple to learn. You good sir. So yeah, it is. I found it simple to learn, unless there's the honest fact that me and my mates were just playing it wrong. I mean, there's always that. We're like, oh, this is easy because we're playing the rules our own way. But hopefully that was not the case. But yeah, it wasn't too complicated, which was nice. And then Sam says, so that's it. I'm going to become a patron and buy you a table. To be honest, I do have a table. It's just a case of right. So the problem with battle reports is that you need a better camera than the iPhone I've got. Really, essentially, that's what I found. Also, the main thing is a case of lighting. I need to buy some lights and stuff for battle reports because, quite simply, natural lighting, which I do use, like a lamp, it's not good enough. I've seen that one because I made a couple of battle reports a while back, and the quality wasn't. I'll be honest, wasn't. I didn't think it was particularly good, but I was learning, so I forgive myself. But yeah, but it's also the time it takes to do them, which I'm not saying that these are things that I can't do. They are things I can do. However, it's just a case of being able to afford the time, being able to afford the equipment, all these things. A battle report does cost quite a lot of money. I mean, if you see other channels do battle reports, if they turn their camera sort of like off table, you can see they've got like big spotlights and all these sorts of things, which are not the cheapest, but it's something that I do want to do in the future. So like I said, all money on Patreon and stuff does all help towards that. Obviously, also the big thing with battle reports, just getting the time to do it, and also because like I say, my job is really awkward essentially to be able to get time off the same time that my gaming buddies do. That it's hard to be able to do battle reports the same time they can. So that's why I won't be like some channels do like battle report like once every 2 days. For the foreseeable future, my channel will never be like that, just because I can't get an opponent to play at like 3 o'clock in the morning, unfortunately. But that's just the way it is. Because like, I only get 2 weekends off like every 5 weeks. I'm not saying that's like really hard because a lot of people don't get any weekends off and stuff. But when you try and do battle reports, doesn't help things out essentially. So yeah, but no, battle reports something I do definitely want to work on, and hence why, like I say, I like that scenery for sure. So what's that? I'm not okay. Sam saying, what do you do? Police delirious? No, I'm a police officer, mate. So that means I have absolutely no time for sociable hours, which are very annoying. In the job that I've got, so being a police officer, not saying it's a bad job, and all that sort of thing, but it's hard to fit other things in around that. Unfortunately, that is the case. That is the reality of it. And our hobby does take a lot of time, particularly when you're building up a YouTube channel and stuff. It can. It's nice sometimes. It'll be nice to have a bit more time to do that sort of thing. In all honesty, but we all choose what jobs to go into, don't we? So that is how it is. But yes, so sorry, just reading chat. Oh, lovely! I've got a great track record with you guys. Oh, cool. What is it you do then, mate? Out of interest, I've got a great track record. Please don't say that. Oh, you just mean that you're not a criminal. Right, I see what you did there. Yeah, well, that's always good to know, because, to be honest, I'm not a massive fan of criminals, because they do some very not nice things, and something we could all benefit if they just stop doing them would be very nice. But then again, if they stop being criminals, you know, I still need to be paid at the end of the day. But no, it's a joking about that. So that's all well and good. But yeah, in that job, it's quite hard. You know, like when I go into the police station, unfortunately, we don't have a gaming room there. I've been working on it for some time now, all that sort of thing. Or we don't have a hobby desk and all that. You know, it would be nice, but unfortunately, that is not the case as the in modern society. But yeah, so that is that. Sab's our manager of B&B, and I'm an upcoming beekeeper. Oh, an upcoming beekeeper. That is interesting. You know what? Nobody has told me that this weekend so far. They want to become an upcoming beekeeper, so you're the first. What sort of bees are they? Are they friendly ones? The ones you're going to make honey out of? Just generally quite an interesting thing to hear. But no, so yeah, so talking about going back to, sorry, the point of this video, which was talking about obviously the open day and all these sorts of things. So that's all we sort of got. I'm going to go for the article now just to make sure I have covered everything. That is all we have sort of got from the... Yeah, so we've got... Right, battle tome for Cities of Sigmar, battle tome for the Orc Warclans, the hinted battle tome for the Gutbusters, but Warcry, obviously. Simple Warcry, good game. I will be playing it. That'll be happening. For sure. And yes, so with that, also... Fantastic open day. Got to speak to loads of painters. Got to speak to Heavy Metal team. Literally just pulled out one of my models. Like, how can I make that? You know, I pulled it out and said, "Oh, that's nice." And I was like, "No, don't. You know, talk down to me. How can I make this better?" Basically. And then they were like, "So it's for my Sinesh stuff." So it's like one of my Chaos Warriors with a banner. And they said, "Oh, we thought about just adding this spot color in there." So I was like, "Amazing, brilliant. That's what I need to hear. Thank you very much." And the Heavy Metal painters. So nice to speak to the people that paint everything on the boxes. You know, for the models that we buy, it's really, really cool, to be honest. And it's great to speak to like the artists. Like there's, you know, the artists do all the drawings and stuff. One person did like a full drawing of an Iron Jaw Mega Boss in like 6 hours, or like more like 5 hours. Just sketched it, and it was really, really cool. Absolutely awesome. Just the amount of skill you see there is incredible. And the exhibition teams, when you speak to them, and you just realise how much work goes into those dioramas and the deadlines. The White Dwarf team. The writers, there's just so many different types of people we got to speak to, which is absolutely awesome. And also, all the people up there, really, really friendly, all that sort of thing. Right, so with that, I am also going to announce the thing that I purchased, which I am going to be using, which is going to, so this thing I bought is going to be the subject of these live videos, and it's going to be a nice project I can work on while chatting to you guys, and have a sort of, rather just going I don't know, live video number 10 or something like that, it can be like you know, what part on this project we are at, as it's quite a unique model. So just clearing the table so I can put it on the table, because it's not, you know, like built or anything yet, because it's going to take a while to build because it weighs a bloody ton. But so this is the new model that I got. So I don't know if there's enough space on here. I don't think there is, but you might be able to see the name of it. It is Vorgoroth and Scarlock. So, Vorgoroth and Scarlock are the Corn Dragon, which is the Forger model that is very, very expensive, and I definitely should not have bought this model. However, it is the Corn Dragon that I have got, and this is going to be, I say the start of a Corn army, but this model is more expensive than a Corn army itself. I literally do not have enough space on this table without putting paint on the bottom of the box, which I'm certainly not going to do. But so I've got this model, I've built a couple of bits on it just to give you some sort of size comparison. So if I go and get the head for this model, if I just go and get it now, and then I'll show you the sort of what size comparison we have essentially got for this. So, and what is going to be the best model to use for this size comparison? Let's go for a skink, because a skink is like a hunched over man, isn't it? So let's go for a skink. So this is, what is it? Vorgoroth has got, which one's the dragon? This is Scarlock, I want to call it. So this is a skink, and then obviously we've got Scarlock's head here. So we've got sort of, you can understand the sort of size of this guy. He's quite big, you know, the skink could literally fit into its mouth like so. There we go, it's eating a skink. And that really does show just how big this model is. So as you can see, I've worked on some of the green stuff and stuff around the horns because bloody hell, some of the gaps in these horns are absolutely massive. Because this dragon, like I say, I'll show you just like with the dragon just swallowing a skink because this thing's absolutely awesome. Like I say, even if we just compare it to something a bit bigger, so the golems, I mean, yeah, this thing is still massive, absolutely huge. Yeah. So that is the new project that I'll be working on in these live videos, will be the Corn Dragon. So like I say, I've already built the head just to get some sort of scale for you guys. Absolutely beautiful model. I saw it up there. It was already, obviously they have, I'll just leave it here so you guys can hopefully still see it. So up there, obviously it's a lovely model. I wanted to buy it for ages. When I went to the original first Age of Sigmar Open Day about 4 years ago, I saw it and I was like, when that model comes out, I'd love to buy it. But it's going to be something like £1,000, just going to be ridiculous. It's going to be a Warlord Titan, and I'll never be able to buy it. Just going to be one of those, a dream model that I'll never be able to buy. And then it came out, and it was £375, so whatever it is in your respectable countries. And I was like, it's a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be. So I've been eyeing it up and wanting it, and then obviously I did a video a while back when it came out, I want to say about a year ago. I basically talked about this one model for an hour, and yeah, so that showed how much I sort of liked it. And I said, am I going to get out tempted? But it's very expensive, and I sort of just bit the bullet and I bought it. So that is going to be the project for so these live videos and stuff is going to be Skark and Volgroth. Like if I just show you like the size of its main body, just so you guys get like an understanding of how big this thing is. So its main body, again, I'll be using a skink for size comparison. So we move the head out of the way, so I can show you guys the body of this model. So the head is going to go over here, and then the size of the, so again, we're going to get our friendly skink. So the skink is going to go here. You can see the skink is very happy. His name is Bill. He's going to go there. And then if you can see, don't get off, I don't even know if this camera's probably big. Okay, what I'll do, I'll remove this box. We've seen the box. It's a bloody big box and it weighs a ton. So that's just going to go down there. So we've got, like I say, Bill, I believe his name is, skink, and then we have then got the main body for Skarrock, which again, if we compare it to the size of the little skink here, we can see just how big it is. If you can you see that? Does that make sense? Where I'm watching the video and stuff is a little bit delayed, so apologies if it's off camera. But so this is the main body, absolutely huge. Even comes with a stand, literally. So, but the stand does not support itself because this thing weighs too much. So absolutely cool. I've done a couple of pins in here already, just to try and keep it secure. Yeah, like, okay, I can see it now, and yeah, this skink did come up, and literally, like if we go like here to basically the gullet, so the neck, and then we go like this, it could literally just fit a whole skink inside of its throat, including the base. Which is absolutely incredible. The size of this thing, absolute beast. Like I say, really expensive, but you sort of feel like you get your money's worth for the size of this thing. Also, you don't need to, let's just say you've had an annoying game and you want to dispose of your opponent, you can just saying, you can do it. It's heavy enough. So yes, it's cool. You've also got like all the scars here. You've got like, you know, corn marker there. You've also got corn signs emblazoned like brass there, and there's another one there. You can see why he's so scarred and disfigured, even this dragon. And this dragon is technically a god beast, and that's all you need to know, is that it's a god beast, which are like the things of the legend that nobody really believes they exist, just because the sheer size of them. And then the corn lord who rides upon this defeated this god beast. I believe that's how it goes, and then got to ride it as a pet. And him and the dragon do not get on. They both want to kill each other, but they both have to serve corn, so they can't really do so. So yes, that is the corn dragon. That is obviously not the only part of it, but that is the part that I have got you know, to show you. And I've also got, you know, the tail and all that sort of thing, but you know, it's all in different pieces. So I'm going to try and keep this as most up to date with you guys as I can to build it along you guys. And inevitably I probably will do some progress with it. You guys can't see because I can't record every single time because, you know, I share this house, and when I record it might be, you know, it could be in the middle of the night, some people need to sleep. I'm not going to make a load of noise for them. And it would be a cool thing to see progress on. And I just thought, you know what, that would be a really cool project for the channel, rather than it just being, you know, some centaurs or something I came up with, you know, made. I mean, I do like the centaurs that I've, you know, made and kit bash and stuff. And they do go with, if I get, you know, the leader out, they do go with the Vanguard one I made, which I do like as well, which, you know, I might showcase these sort of models at some point. But I wanted something just a bit more bigger. And like, I mean, this looks quite big from here, doesn't it? But and then if we just go like, you know, where's it? There, it doesn't look so big anymore. So yeah, so we've got this. That's cool. We have also got a few interesting ways to base this thing, and that is something also that I've invested some money in, so we can have a nice base for it. So that'll be cool. Obviously, basing is a long way away, but no. So lovely model. The skink looks tiny, so I think that's probably one of the perfect models. I was going to use a giant rat, but I thought that's been a little bit silly, isn't it? Making it a bit too small. So anything in the chat. Oh yes, so Sam, so I talking about your bees and stuff. So live in Cornwall. So they are black bees here, doing a business plan with the Prince's Trust currently, and yes, it will be sell honey organic. That's cool, mate. And also bees are in danger, aren't they? So it's a good thing to do. Okay, and then here come night to legs. Yep. So a little bit different to night legs. A little bit different. Maybe I should have bought some night legs, but we'll see. And then so Jesus can see why you are an officer now. You need to pay a check to fund your addiction. Yeah, basically, the money I get from work, don't really have time to spend it. So when I do, it's on stupid things like this. And it's Godzilla. Yeah, I think it's literally bigger than Godzilla. I think I had a toy Godzilla, and yeah, it's bigger than that. But yeah, so that is it here. It's absolutely, look at the size of its chest and how much the thing works out. But yeah, it's a really nice model. And also the nice thing I was saying about all the scars is that, you know, for a model that's so big and has so many flat surfaces, look at all the creases. You know, it's not just like it's a plain area. It's generally got a lot of work that's been put into it on every little inch of the model. Like you see all the scales and stuff. And yeah, really nice. It took a while to bath this though, to clean it up, but you know, we got there in the end. But yes, guys, so that's that. Will be cool to see progress done on this, and it's something we will be seeing in future videos. Like I say, it won't be always be able to do it, you know, stage by stage, but will be cool to see. So yes, guys, so that's that. That's also the open day. Great open day. Really enjoyed it. Only 20 quid for me to do for the tickets and all that sort of thing. Buckman's was fantastic. Everyone up there was really friendly, and it will be. I will try and go to next year's. Actually, it's maybe want to go to next year's. That's how good it was, and it was great to meet loads of different hobbyists and all these sorts of things. And it was absolutely fantastic day yesterday. Sam saying, have fun painting all them skulls. And good luck with it. I will be watching. Yep, skulls to the skull god. What I'm going to try and do with it, I reckon, is I was going to spray it red because I thought it's a red dragon. Red's going to be a good way to start. However, I think the red that you spray on it is quite bland, isn't it? The Mephiston red. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to spray it, more than likely, Grey Seer or Wraithbone, the two contrast sprays. And then I will be putting Blood for the Blood, not Blood for Blood, because that's the wrong thing. I will be putting Blood Angels red all over the red parts of the dragon skin. It could look absolutely horrendous. I might need to respray the model, might need to strip the model. It could be terrible. But I'm going to try it, because if that works, because there are a lot of indentations, you know, it's not too much of a flat surface like I was talking about, that is going to save so much time. It's going to be ridiculous. So yes, I will be more than likely trying out contrast paint on this. And like I say, it's a really nice model, and it's going to be the biggest model I have in my collection by far. Do I really want to just rush it with contrast paints? That's not the idea behind using contrast paints. It's just using a tool that would be good for the job, would be effective a way to use the time. So that is the way I'm going to maybe try and do this. See how that goes. and hopefully it'll be good. And if that is the case, and that's how we're going to do it, the skulls, then we can just use contrast skeleton horde and stuff and try and do it that way, make it a bit more effective, as I don't want this to take me over a year to do. Just going to say it like that. And I don't really have anywhere to display it, so I don't know where I'm going to put it, like a box when it's done, but it would be awesome to see how done. So guys, with that in mind, this is a new surprise I got, like I said. Open day was absolutely fantastic. It was absolutely great. Recommend going to you guys nearby, or you visiting the UK around that time next year, whenever it is. Definitely go along to that. Really, really cool. If you guys have any other questions, make sure you put them in the chat and then I can read them before I go. So on that note, guys, I'd like to thank you very much for watching this video. It's been absolutely great to have you guys here. I know there's quite a few watching it. It's nice to have a chat going. If you did enjoy this video and you enjoy the other content I do, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. It does massively help the channel. It's absolutely free for you guys to do so. So sorry, I'll just do the chat. Sorry. So Steve's saying, oh no, don't use only contrast, use in conjunction with the rest of the... Oh yeah, absolutely, mate. This isn't just going to be contrast, nothing like that. I just mean for the really big, for the areas that might be what contrast is designed for, it'll be that, but it'll be finished up, layered, highlighted, fine highlights, fucking freehand, mate, probably by the end of it. It will be, all my skill is going to go into making this thing look good. Okay? It's not for me to go, oh, this is a quick model to paint. Not at all. I did not spend, basically, basing and stuff involved in this model is about £500 I spent on this model. It's not going to be rushed. Do not worry about that. James saying, just got here. Is that what I think it is? Is that a corn dragon? Yes. So this is a skink. This is the main body of the corn dragon, and this is its head. So skink in mouth. It can eat a skink. It can eat a skink whole. There we go. Can eat a skink whole. So yeah, that's quite cool. So yes, this is a corn dragon. It's just put that there. It's what I bought. So I've been to the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Open Day, just to let you know. James went there yesterday. Really great day, fantastic. And then I decided to buy something for a project for the live videos I'm going to do on the channel, and that is this corn dragon, which is going to be used for, like I said, a project for the live videos, and be like, like watch me build, watch me build and paint it, and watch it almost from like the start to the finish for how often I can produce those videos. Will be relevant on how much I can do that. But yes, this is a corn dragon. It came in a bloody big box. We'll be working on it, and we've got some really cool ideas for its basing. So yes, that was sort of another announcement for the channel. I've done this video. So yes, that's what it's going to be. And yeah, guys, like I say, if you enjoyed this video, if you just joined, don't worry, you can go back and you can watch it from the start. Absolutely fine. I think the live videos, because I don't have to edit them, which are fantastic. They go up on the channel once being filmed pretty quickly, so you can watch it quite easily on replay. Don't have to wait too long. So like I say, just joined, make sure you go back, watch the video, because I talk about everything I experienced at Open Day. It was absolutely fantastic. Got to meet some, if you like Games Workshop celebrities, if you want to call them that, basically awesome painters, drawers, law writers, book writers, all these sorts of things. Absolutely great. So yeah, like I say, go back. If you did enjoy the video, like I say, like, subscribe, comment down below. All absolutely free for you guys to do so. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, which is a new thing I've got. I say new thing, I've got it for a while now. Got an account on that, and that's a great way for you to be able to support the channel in things for like me being able to buy battle stones for me for the army side view, for me to be able to save up towards a camera, for me to be able to do things like get a better microphone, and also just really helps towards me being able to justify the time and stuff I put into the channel. And don't worry, the money you give me does not go towards like me buying this. This is all my money. There's no Patreon money at all going to like this dragon here, because that's not a good fit way to spend your money, I personally think. So yes, so if you'd like to support me on that, please do so. Anything helps, like even just $1 really does good. On that note, I'd like to thank my Patreon, which is Martin, James, Carl and Simon. These guys have been supporting me for ages, and they are vampire tier, and these are people who donate at least $5 a month to the channel, and they do a really great job. And because of them, the way how I'm filming this, with my phone and the stand, that's down to them. Their money they've donated has helped towards things like that, and really does help support. And on that note, I'd like to thank my patrons who donate like $1 a month. Really does make a massive difference as well. So guys, if you can't support me on Patreon, that's absolutely fine. I'm just really glad that you came and checked out this video today. I'll just see if there's anything left in the chat before I end it. So cheaper on Apex Press, yeah, well, I prefer this one. Sam's saying so he's getting ready for the next corn book. That's the 6th, isn't it? Oh, mate, it's something like that. I bought the battle tome when I bought this, to be honest. Even that this is not even in the battle tome, so there we go. But anyway, because Forge World for some reason can't be put in Games Workshop books because I don't know, magic and that reason. That's the reason for it. That's just why it can't happen. But guys, remember, I thank you very much for watching this video, and remember, until next time, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash. Now, the other thing about this, what I'd just like to say, so the phone gets hooked up here, so you're going to see it go really loose quickly and look really unprofessional. So it gets hooked up here, you can see the phone shaking around, so there we go. This is where I've been filming it. And it won't let me exit it until I press this exit button here. So now that we know that this is unprofessional, hasn't gone to plan, we're going to end it. So the Corn Dragon is going to say goodbye, bye now, and we will see you later. Have a good rest of your weekend, guys.